Hello and welcome to Take 6. I am streaming executive producer Thomas Mates, filling in for Julie Broughton. She is off for the next couple days, so you will be seeing more of me. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Florida legislative session. It is expected to wrap up today with the final votes from the legislature before those bills then head to Governor Ron DeSantis. He is expected to sign them. The main goal here is overhauling immigration rules in the state, making sure that there is money for more enforcement of our immigration laws, as well as removing some protections and benefits for people who are undocumented living in the state of Florida. In addition to that, we're going to be taking a look at Ormond Beach. There is a special art exhibit there right now, all part of our Hits the Road coverage. We'll be going there live next Wednesday. We'll give you all the details on that coming up in just a few minutes. But before we get to all that, it is hot today. It is hot, and it's hotter than it's been in quite a while, and we're expecting to see a big change in the weather in the next couple of days as well. So the hardest working man in showbiz today is News 6 meteorologist David Nazario. David, I know have been covering this. You are leading our morning meeting with our weather and coverage. You did your 11:30 stream talking about everything that's going on, and now you're here on Take 6. I really appreciate it because I couldn't wrap my head around all of this that's going on. But the big headlines, hot today, storms are coming, but break it all down for us, please.
Absolutely, my friend. Thank you so much for turning over the mic, and thanks for the awesome introduction as well. We have been busting our behinds here, both in the Digital Weather Center and the Pinpoint Weather Center over on the broadcast side of things. And we're going to jump right in. I'm just going to go head first into everything we have for you. These are our headlines, the next big thing. This is going to help to kind of consolidate everything we're going to be pinpointing over the next 7 days. As you can see for today, the hottest weather will be in place with a little bit of sea breeze action out there as well for parts of Brevard, Volusia, maybe trying to get into the eastern halves of Orange and Osceola County. Tomorrow, we've got a slight cool down ahead, or I should say behind this cold front as it kind of tries to make its way as far south through the Florida Peninsula as possible before we transition back to easterly winds coming in off of our east coast, which could keep a stray shower or two possible. And then for this weekend, we're watching another stronger winter storm getting going over the Central Plains. We're going to be watching the progression of that front that is associated with it closely because it could have implications on your NASCAR weekend ahead. Head on over to clickorlando.com for the latest information and an article I put out over there highlighting the different scenarios that I'm tracking. But for now, here's a look at our live radar. You can see up there near Tallahassee, the Big Bend area of Florida. If I play the loop, you'll notice that we are still tracking the front that is moving through right now. This could up our rain chances ever so slightly as we go through the rest of the day today. When we get to the 7-day, you'll notice that we do have a chance for rain today, and then again on Saturday as we transition to that new flow provided by high pressure off our east coast. And then we're going to be watching this closely. This is what we're going to be watching as we move over the next 3 or so days. Not the next big thing, that's for sure. Let me go ahead and get back to the loop, and I'll take you through time here. So if you watch out there over the Central Plains, there goes our first front over the southeast, and watch the winds closely. See how the clouds, they begin going off towards the south very slowly, but then we quickly transition back to an easterly direction, and there you have it. There's that next storm system brewing up as we go through Saturday, and then into Sunday, it gets tricky. The models are going very much so back and forth with what this storm system could possibly do. Last couple of days leading up to this briefing right now, the European model was sold. We were going to have this system overhead between 12 and 2 p.m. in the afternoon, which would delay the NASCAR race on Sunday. The GFS has kept it much slower moving, and it keeps it a lot weaker than what the European and other model counterparts were predicting. Now we're starting to see them come into line, come into agreement, but we're starting to see that delay as well. So this could possibly influence the second half of the race, especially since they do have their stages now. They'll go stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, going through the full 160-lap race. So hopefully it slows down enough to where we don't have to do battle with the front at all. But dare I say, there is that risk if this thing does slow down enough, we could see the back end, if not the finale of the race, slowed and postponed to where they'll have to pick it back up to the following day, Monday. But we're not going to go there right now. We still have about 48 hours, 72 hours, give or take, to get ahead of this thing. And we'll be dialing that in here at the Pinpoint Weather Center, both on the digital and broadcast side. Looking at your surface winds as we transition back to that easterly flow, it is going to remain windy over the next couple of days. For Friday, Saturday, and into Sunday, we could be gusting anywhere between 15 to 25 miles an hour in some parts. And unfortunately, even though we're talking cold front after cold front, if you look for the day tomorrow and then even on Saturday, if I fast forward the clock just a little bit more, you'll notice our temperatures are still going to be pretty high. We're still going to be between 8 to 13 degrees above the norm for this time of year. But moving on over to your wonderful pinpoint accurate forecast. If you look at the next 3 days, we are going to stay warm. There is going to be a small chance for rain out there, 30% today, and then a pick back up on Saturday with 20%. And then if you notice, Sunday is the main event, both literally and figuratively, with this winter storm that's going to be coming through. 60% chance of rain that day. And then between Sunday and Monday, a pretty nice cool off before we gear up for what could possibly be headed our direction by Wednesday of next week. More to come on that. Obviously, that's still about a week away, but there's more. There's
Yes. I'm pro cool down. 90, close to 90 degrees. Too much for me. Not for this
That
Northerner's
ain't
blood. But I know the NASCAR fans are pulling for a stay of the rain so that they can get their race in. I'm not a NASCAR fan, so it's good napping weather for me. But I do hope that everyone's Sunday afternoon is not ruined by the weather. So I know you'll be keeping an eye on that. I know you're actually heading out to Daytona on Saturday for the Xfinity race.
Yep.
So I hope it stays dry for you and your family, and then for the main event on Sunday.
Yes, absolutely. We're going to be watching this really close. I'm very interested to see what our higher res models show for tomorrow night. So if you guys are still watching, I won't be available for our morning weather update at 11:30, nor for Take 6. We have something special for Take 6, but I will be coming in for the night side shows at 6 and 6:30 if you'd like to get the latest on your NASCAR race weekend for both the Xfinity Truck Series races on Saturday and if you're headed out for the Great American Race on Sunday.
All right, David, thank you so much for your time and your expertise. I know you'll be watching that closely, and stick with us here on News 6 for all the updates on that, because we want you to be as prepared as possible if you're heading out to that race this weekend. All right, David, thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Have a great day.
Thank you very much, Thomas. You too.
All right, we are going to take a quick break, but when we come back, we're going to be speaking with, we'll be speaking with News 6 reporter Laverne McGee. She's been following the legislative session up in Tallahassee for the past several days, and she will break down for us what is in the bills that are expected to pass today and what that means for all of us here in Florida. That'll be coming up in just about 2 minutes. Welcome back to Take Six. The time now is 12:39, almost 12:40. If you've been paying attention to the news, you'll know that the past few days, the legislative body has been up in Tallahassee getting ready to pass several bills, all aimed at immigration enforcement here in Central Florida. This has been a pet project for Governor Ron DeSantis since the start of the year. There was an initial special session that was called. Things did not go the governor's way, but then after some debate and some discussion between him and the legislative leaders in the Senate and the House in Tallahassee, some compromises were made, and now it looks like those bills are expected to move forward. To tell us more about everything that's been happening up in the state capitol, we are joined now by News 6 reporter Laverne McGee. Laverne, how are you doing?
Hey, Thomas, how are you? You've got this covered. I mean, we've been talking about this for a while, haven't we? So today, actually, the Senate has officially passed the illegal immigration legislation. In the House, right now, they're meeting and they're going to do a full vote on the legislation. So it is expected to pass fully. And then Governor Ron DeSantis is going to be holding a press conference at 3 o'clock this afternoon. And we're expected to, of course, hear that everything has passed and is going through. So, Thomas, as you've been saying, we've been
Mhm.
talking about this, and people are on both sides of the aisle are saying it could really change things. There's no doubt. A big part of this bill is putting a lot of money into law enforcement and how local law enforcement helps the federal government when it comes to illegal immigrants. So we're talking about $500 million here, Thomas.
Mm.
It's a lot of money. So originally, Democrats they called the special session. I don't know if people remember way back how we got to this point, but this was a special session, and originally, Governor DeSantis had called it. To talk about things like condo fees and whatever. It turned out to be strictly just immigration, illegal immigration, and here we are today. So there's going to be money spent in Florida on detaining illegal immigrants and helping the federal government. And so when it comes to Democrats, they're saying that's going to take away from safety in our neighborhoods if local law enforcement is focused on those issues. Republicans on the other side of the aisle are saying that we need this. We need to make sure that people who should not be in Florida are not here, especially if they're committing violent crimes. So, Thomas, this is kind of where we're at. This is going to go through. There's going to be changes here,
Mhm.
debate on exactly what it's going to look like.
Yeah, and the money is the big headline because it is a lot of money. But there is a lot more to this bill. I know some of the more, I don't want to say mundane, but more stuff that you might expect would be the lack no more in-state tuition for people who are undocumented in the state, students who are undocumented in the state going to state schools. But there's also things like a mandatory death penalty for an illegal immigrant who is convicted of both either a child rape or a homicide, I believe.
That is absolutely making headlines
Hmm.
across the country right now, Thomas, the death penalty, because there's people on both sides of that issue, no matter who the person is that's being convicted. So that's definitely something that they're talking about. Once again, we'll find out this afternoon if they actually get that put through. But that is definitely on the table. And like I said, people on both sides of the aisle finding that some people saying that is way too strict. They don't believe in the death penalty, and there's other people saying, "Hey, if you do the crime, this is what they want to use to deter people."
Hmm.
Basically, they're hoping that some of this will just stop people from coming here illegally. So it can sound harsh to some people. Like I said, it depends on who you ask, but they are saying, the Republicans, many of them are saying that we have to be tough so that people just don't want to come here illegally in the first place.
Hmm. And this is all coming on the heels of the national crackdown on undocumented immigrants across the country, all part of the Trump administration, his long promised push to remove as many, if not all, in his words, undocumented or illegal immigrants as possible. And Governor Ron DeSantis has said the state of Florida needs to be hand in glove with the federal government on this.
Absolutely. And in fact, Senator Gruters, who's one of the co-sponsors of the bill, has been working, he said in the session, he's been working with President Trump and his administration on this. And they want this to possibly be a model for the rest of the country. They want to really join forces with the federal government, with President Trump, in taking this matter on. They say that's what the voters wanted. That's why they put President Trump in office. It was one of the big issues was immigration, illegal immigration. And they want to show that they're taking it seriously. And so they have worked with the Trump administration on some of what's in this bill.
And is indeed incentives built into this bill for law enforcement, local law enforcement, to work with immigration agents in the state of Florida, and also to essentially look for and be proactive in finding these people who are undocumented in the state.
Yeah, so that's one of the things that Democrats have been arguing about, saying that if you're going to incentivize your local law enforcement, that could possibly make them not want to handle local crime, so to speak. So for
Hmm.
instance, if you're a local police officer or highway patrol, Florida State Highway Patrol, and you're called, would you rather go and answer, a call of a burglary at somebody's, bike was stolen out of their garage, or do you want to go uh, possibly detain an illegal immigrant, and there's the possibility that you would get $1,000 bonus or something out of that. And so
Hmm.
Democrats are saying that just doesn't sit well because they're concerned that one takes away from the resources that they have. Of already, we have not enough police in some places,
Hmm.
and it's just making people now at risk because crime may not be handled the way that it was before this law.
Hmm. And
So a lot of issues.
yeah, and I'm sure the counter argument there is that illegal immigration or undocumented immigrants that affects all Floridians, and then therefore I know that there has been a lot of finger pointing saying that they are a vector in crime in the state. So there's arguments on both sides of it, but we'll have to see exactly how things shape out once this is signed into law by Governor DeSantis. We know he was holding the press conference later today. I don't know exactly when he's going to be signing, but I would have to imagine touting this as a big victory for himself sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I would think so. I mean, the fact that they're even already setting it up, pretty
Hmm.
much indicates that they're pretty confident that this is going to go through and that he may be signing it then or shortly before then. We'll see. I mean, because this has been a huge issue. We've been talking about this for a while now. And like I said, it's become a national issue. People are looking at this across the country because this, Thomas, is going to be different than anything we've seen before in Florida. And it's
Hmm.
also, like I said, something that they want to see implemented across the country. This partnership, if you would call it that, between local enforcement law authorities here dealing hand in hand with ICE, in fact, with
Hmm.
immigration. You haven't seen that, and you're really going to see some changes also in economics, they say,
Hmm.
because of the way Florida, especially for us here in Florida, because we have illegal immigrants who have worked in farming, agriculture, construction, that sort of thing.
Hmm.
So you're going to see some changes here, they say. But of course, Republicans say for the better. Some Democrats are on board with it, and some Democrats saying, not so fast. There's just not enough
Hmm.
specifics in here, and it needs to be worked out in more of a process. But this is where we're at today, and it looks like it's going to go through.
All right, Laverne, I know you're going to be following this the rest of the day as it continues through the Senate and then on to the governor's desk. Thank you so much for your time and your expertise. We'll be seeing you more on starting at News 6 at 4 and beyond. Thank you so much for your time.
Okay, thank you.
All right, and with that, we are going to now take a look, shifting gears ever so slightly to to our Hits the Road coverage. We are going to be heading out to Ormond Beach in Volusia County. It is the birthplace of speed, and right now there is a unique art exhibit in the city for people to go out there and enjoy. News 6 anchor Ginger Gadsden has a look at that for us.
Ormond Beach, where obviously the beaches are gorgeous, the food is great. This is the birthplace of speed, and one of the richest men in the world, John D. Rockefeller, once called this place home. But there are some temporary residents here who don't say a whole lot, but they get a bunch of attention. Meet Monet. He's part of an art installation of sculptures that has infused new life into downtown Ormond Beach as part of their Main Street program. The Ormond Beach Arts District worked for about a year to raise money and get the collection here. And so far,
people seem to love them very much, and children particularly love them. But everybody, I think people are attracted to the fact that they are life-size, that they look, as you walk by them, if you're not paying attention, you might think they're real people.
Julia Trujillo is president of the Ormond Beach Arts District.
You know, it's the question of looking familiar, of looking like something that they can approach.
These lifelike creations arrived last November and have been captivating visitors from day one.
I have seen several people having conversations with them, even though they are not getting much in the way of answers.
Created by Seward Johnson, a grandson in the well-known Johnson & Johnson family, they are done in a style known as hyper-realism.
He's detail-oriented. Everything about these figures is extremely lifelike.
And they blend right in with everyone else. In fact, it took me a minute to notice the woman sitting on the bench.
You can see her sitting right there. You see her?
I don't, but...
There she, the yellow dress, see her?
So that's a sculpture.
That's a sculpture.
Do people realize that?
No, from this distance, I don't think people realize
Because
that.
she just looks like a woman just sitting there, minding her business. Even the items in her purse look real. Lipstick, a wallet, a pen. Each sculpture has a special lifelike quality. The life-size figures each weigh about 600 pounds, and they are pretty hard to miss.
How many have you seen so far?
We found people just exploring and admiring them.
We're just amazed at the detail.
Yeah.
I mean, look at the clothes these statues are wearing. I mean, it's amazing. Seams. are so,
and the
it's
texture on the
incredible.
jeans and
Yeah.
all that.
Beverly Fox is visiting from Palm Coast and has seen Johnson's work in other places. She's glad they're in Ormond Beach now so she can show them off to her friends.
Are you going to do the whole tour?
Oh, definitely. I'm going to drag them around.
People come from all over to see these statues. Not only to see them, but to be seen with them. They're a very popular spot to take selfies.
Truwillo says their social media pages are filled with people who love posing with the sculptures.
Every time I see one of them, there's people around it.
Judy Stein is a big part of why these sculptures are here. She saw them somewhere else and took a chance when she lobbied to bring them to Ormond Beach.
Yeah, well, sure, it could have gone anyway, and it was a big deal, you know, for us to do this. So the fact that it's been so successful, I have to say, it's really gratifying. It's really gratifying for me.
Yeah, you never know how it's going to turn out.
No, it's been a labor of love.
There are 13 of these statues spread out around Ormond Beach, but don't worry, they've made them easy for you to find.
You can complete the 1 mile loop of artwork in about 1 hour, longer if you linger.
That was News 6 anchor Ginger Gadsden reporting. And if you want to take a look at those statues or just join us out in Ormond Beach, that is coming up next Wednesday on February 19th. We will be at the Grind Gastropub and Kona Tiki Bar. That's at 49 West Granada Boulevard in Ormond Beach. That'll be from 4 p.m. till 7 p.m. on February 19th. That is a Wednesday. That'll be next week. We hope that you'll join us and be a part of our coverage out there in Ormond Beach. And, you know, it's always a great time when we hit the road. You get to meet all your favorite News 6 anchors and personalities, and you'll see members who are working behind the scenes, making it all possible. It's a great time. We hope that you'll join us then. That'll do it for us today here on Take 6. We really appreciate all of your time. We'll have more coming up on News 6 at 4, including the latest forecast and, of course, all your headlines for the day. That'll be coming up again at News 6 at 4, but you can always find the latest on clickorlando.com. Thank you so much for your time, and have a pleasant day.